Schools out for summer, schools out forever. In our national lead, the California State University system is canceling in-person classes for the fall, impacting nearly 500,000 students across 23 campuses in that state. This is the first large American university to move classes almost exclusively online. Canada's McGill University and the universities of Ottawa and Montreal announced the same today. This comes as other schools in the U.S. insist they will find a way to bring students back to campus. We're joined now by Jim Henderson. He's the president of the University of Louisiana system, which includes the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, the University of New Orleans, and Grambling State University. Thanks so much for joining us, Jim. I appreciate it. Let me run through some of the things that I'm just wondering about. You're planning to resume in-person classes this fall across all 9 of your campuses. It's about 92,000 students. Are you going to test all of the students and faculty and employees?
Jake, we've got to develop plans that meet the needs of the university communities at all 9 of our institutions. Of course, testing will be a component of that. Our board will meet at the end of this month to develop a framework all of our system institutions will follow that puts the health and safety of students, faculty, and communities and our staff as a paramount concern while we continue the education mission of our students. Testing, identification, and rapid response when an outbreak is detected are actually absolutely going to be a part of that plan. And I think you'll see there's some great similarities between what we're doing and what my friend Tim White is doing in California.
Will students be asked to wear masks?
We're going to follow the guidance of our health officials, of gubernatorial regulations and other policy making boards. I imagine most will be wearing masks for some time, in addition to having increased hygiene recommendations, increased sanitation procedures for our staff on campuses. I think you'll see social distancing become part of the new norm for us going forward. And you're right. I think you'll see a lot of masks in classrooms.
It's hard to imagine social distancing in college, to be honest. I mean, so much of the college experience is packed classrooms, packed parties, packed buildings. What about football games in the fall? Will you have fans in the bleachers?
Listen, we're in Louisiana, and you know how much football is part of our culture. And so I hope that we have a return to collegiate athletics. It's a very important part of the experience, but only if it is safe. It can be done in a safe way, a way that protects the athletes, that protects the coaches and all of the support staff that's necessary to have an athletic competition, and certainly the spectators. We continue to learn more and more about this virus, how it's transmitted. You've done a great job on this show, keeping us educated as far as that is concerned. I think we'll learn more in the coming months. But that time is getting close where we have to make some very definitive decisions, and again, focused on health and safety of our communities.
What do you do if a student, or more to the point really, a professor, right? Because people who are older, 50, 60, they're more vulnerable to this statistically. But let's say there's a student who has a pre-existing health condition or is just worried, or a professor who says, look, I'm 70 years old, I'm worried, and they want a remote learning option or a remote teaching option. Will you provide it?
That's such a great question, because we talk about our protocols, we talk about things in the aggregate, but we have to bring these down to the individual level. So when you have a student that is of a more vulnerable population, how are you accommodating their learning needs? For a faculty member, ensuring that we're accommodating their needs as well. And we use technology quite well within our system. In fact, our faculty did the Herculean task of moving in about 6 days 92,000 students from traditional instruction to online instruction in the spring. For this fall, we'll be able to do some planning ahead of time. So those faculty that do want to teach online and it's conducive to their the discipline or the class that they're teaching, we're going to accommodate that and ensure that we're meeting their needs in addition to meeting the needs of students. So you've got hybrid approaches that you can implement. Utilizing technology to deliver instruction is something that we've become expert at. It's just applying that now to a real-world crisis situation.
So, Mr. Henderson, even if you do everything right, and I hope you do, I hope you achieve everything you need to, I hope the students are happy, but even if you do, the odds are someone's going to get sick. Someone is going to get novel coronavirus with a student body of 92,000. What do you do? What's the response of the university?
Well, so you have to have outbreak protocols in place that you can manage positive cases, you can identify them, you can isolate them, you can do contact tracing. All of those plans have got to be in place before you can open your campus back up. Now, again, I told you time is running short. That's why by the end of May, all of our campuses will have their plans that they'll put in place in front of our board for approval within a framework of standard protocols across our state. And then we'll continue to monitor them and within the guidelines put forth by science. You know, science is the way that we beat this virus, and it's the way we beat the next pandemic. We've got to follow the guidance of the experts.
And what do you do about parties? What do you do about fraternity parties or dorm parties? Do you just ban them and send in the campus police? What happens?
I think there's going to be significant restrictions on those types of engagements. And I remember my days in college that social distancing would have been very difficult for us. We wouldn't even have been able to envision it.
Yeah.
Well, look, we've had
Indeed.
now several months to socialize this. And I think we're informing students in a very important way. We're helping them understand that the needs to engage in these safer behaviors. And we'll have certainly some restrictions that are enforced. Enforcement is going to be key. We've seen this quite often in other social activities with Greek organizations that do add great value to our campuses. Sometimes just giving the guidelines are not significant enough. You have to be able to enforce them. We'll have those mechanisms in place.